Welcome to a very special episode of the TalkCondo Release Radar, and today we're going to be introducing a very exciting project at Young and Eglinton called Uovo Condominiums. So this is one we've been quite excited about. It's a unique project. Just to give sort of the big picture information on what this condominium is, it's a boutique building, only 60 odd units, located at just south of Young and Eglinton. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 5 things that we're most excited about for this project. The first one in any project at Young and Eglinton, one of the most exciting things about all of these condominiums here is the location itself. Young and Eglinton is undergoing a huge amount of transformation right now, and the amount of growth over the last 4 or 5 years has been explosive. So I'm going to pass this to Amit because I know you you live in the area. You've chosen Young and Eglinton neighbourhood to live in yourself. So I know you've got a lot of positive things to say about this. So give us a quick rundown on why Young and Eglinton's gone through this transformation over the last few years.
I think the site specifically was pinpointed for growth because of the LRT. Really, it all centred around the LRT, and the aim for Young and Eglinton is to eventually become a transit hub. Right. Both with 2 lines, the LRT and the Young subway line. The other thing about Young and Eglinton that drew us, not only from a transit perspective, was also the amazing retail. There's fantastic retail. There's also a significant dollar investment going into the Ryokan Young and Eglinton Centre. Right now, you know, if you're familiar with the area, it's the indoor mall that has the Chapters Indigo in it, Toys R Us, the Cineplex and the Metro and whatnot. So there's a lot of draw, not just from there from a retail perspective, but overall. Young and Eglinton has a lot of fantastic restaurants, shops, cafes, grocery stores nearby. So it's a big draw for that.
The walk score is very high.
Extremely high. Everything, you can get to everything. The transit score is fantastic there. The other big draw for that neighbourhood, personally, were the schools.
And which we're going to talk about a little bit later.
So the location overall is fantastic. From the site itself, you can actually get to the subway station from the Canadian Tire headquarters, which I think is about a 2-minute walk from,
just across the road
from Uovo itself. Now, just to pinpoint Uovo, the development as well itself, it's on the corner of Hillsdale Avenue West and Yonge Street. So it will be fronting on Yonge Street, prime location, fantastic. It's you're to the west of it. I guess it does actually sit in Chaplin Estates. Now, Chaplin Estates is a neighborhood. In case you don't know, it is one of the more upscale, more affluent neighborhoods in Toronto. The starting prices are somewhere like $2 million.
So I want to actually take it back to the LRT, because the LRT, for somebody who doesn't know what is going on there, the LRT confuses a lot of people. Some people think it's an above-ground streetcar. They're not quite 100% sure. They don't 100% sure know what's going on with this. So the LRT is actually a subway system. It's a rapid transit that's going to go across Eglinton, and it's going to be built in 2 phases, which is eventually going to connect Scarborough all the way to the airport. So there's a core section where the high density is, where it's actually underground. So at Young and Eglinton, you'll be able to go down into the subway system. You'll be able to hit the Young line, north-south to downtown, or east-west along Eglinton.
It's very similar to the station at Bloor, Young and Bloor.
So the Young, if you're not familiar with the Young line, in the downtown core, it's underground, then it comes above ground, then it goes back underground at Eglinton in the high-density areas, and it's exactly the same with the Eglinton LRT. And you mentioned that it's a transit hub, and that's because it's one of only a few key intersections where 2 subway lines cross, the first being Young and Bloor, second being Young and Eglinton, and Sheppard further up north. So it's a really important area for the transit system.
And future growth.
Growth. So, and again, if you look at those intersections where they are transit hubs, we see prices explode.
They escalate quickly.
And that was really the sort of spark that ignited the growth at Young and Eglinton.
And it's not just from a residential perspective either.
Commercial.
It's both. It's jobs, commercial, everything.
So I really want to hammer home the importance of this LRT. It is under construction. It will be open for operation in 2020. So we're only a couple of years away before that thing is operational. The second thing I want to take back to is you mentioned the retail, and you mentioned specifically the Ryokan Centre at Young and Eglinton, but closer to home, just immediately opposite
Across the street, yeah.
across the street from Uovo Condominiums is a building called Art Shop Condominiums, which is it launched a couple of years ago, all but sold out at this point.
Under construction.
And one of the big important pieces of the puzzle at Art Shop is that they're actually going to be putting in 80,000 square foot of retail. I know you was looking into the exact kind of retail that they're shooting for there.
Yeah, they're aiming for, obviously they want to keep that high-end feel to it, but also it's a community, as you said, right?
Yep.
So they're focusing on grocers, cafes, shops. In terms of details, we don't know exactly yet what's going to be there, but that's the aim for it.
When they build the specs for the commercial spaces, they always spec for certain things. If they know a grocery store is going in, they build certain things in place. If they know a restaurant's going in, they make sure that the ventilation is there. So they've spec'd for cafes and restaurants and groceries. So that, we're not expecting your dry cleaner and your dentist. It doesn't fit in at Young and Eglinton anyway, but we are expecting more of that community-oriented retail space.
Yeah, tons of space, 2 floors as well, which you don't often see.
Yeah, and from what I recall, and this is obviously not 100% until it's finalized, but an entire floor will be dedicated to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So the other one I want to quickly go back to is Chaplin Estates.
Yep.
There is an importance to this because what we see this in areas all over the GTA, where you see very affluent areas, and then nearby you'll see a condominium development pop up, and the reason I bring that up is because it creates a very specific kind of demographic within the building.
Yeah.
So your entry point to get into these neighborhoods nearby was about $2 million. You said for a detached.
$2 million. Yeah.
So what ends up happening is we get
in Chaplin Estates.
In Chaplin Estates, yeah. So what ends up happening is you get people who are downsizing from that area. You get kids of the parents who live in that area who want to be staying within the neighborhood. So you get a lot of different neighborhoods that are sort of offshoots of these affluent areas.
Yeah.
Prices in these condominiums tend to be very high because the demand tends to be very high.
Yeah.
So that transitions nicely into our next point, which is the number 2 reason we're really excited about Uovo Condominiums, and that's the fact that it's a boutique building.
Yeah.
So in Young and Eglinton, in an area that's surrounded by 30, 40, 50, and 60-story condominium towers, having this boutique building is really unique, and I know this is something that you look at very closely.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting because you don't tend to see boutique buildings come up an awful lot nowadays, and when they do come up, we get really excited, and when they come up in a neighborhood like Chaplin Estates, especially, it's even more exciting. The look and feel of the building is fantastic. Boutique, very exclusive because it's only 11 stories and 67 units only. In terms of the square footage range, I think it would appeal to people that live in, say, in a Chaplin Estates, because you have suite sizes that range all the way to 2,000 square feet. 3+ den
For
units.
Sure.
And then obviously on the lower side, the smaller side, you've got 630 square foot 1+ den units as well. So it appeals to the whole wide range, people who are looking to move down, maybe children of the families that live in the neighborhood. But the big point here is that it's a boutique building.
So one of the reasons,
super exclusive,
very exclusive. So there's a
Yeah.
reason that boutique buildings in Toronto tend to do very well on the resale market and the rental market. A couple of reasons is, number one, you mentioned the exclusivity. There's only 60 units in this building, all high-end. Another big reason that we get told all the time, I want to be in a boutique building, especially at this price point, is because of the privacy element.
Yeah.
Privacy is really, really important. The concierge knows everybody on a first-name basis. Another important part is the community feel.
Yes.
When you're in a building of 500 people, you don't know everybody in the building, but in these kinds of buildings, you do get to know your neighbors a little bit more.
Especially if you're coming from a neighborhood like Chaplin Estates, where
For
you
sure.
probably know your
Absolutely.
neighbors a little bit better. And it just, again, we talk about this a lot, but it fits into the fabric of that area, right?
Yeah.
So it's nice to see these come up.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So transitioning from that, the number 3 reason that we're really excited about Uovo is the high-end suite designs and finishes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, based on the early information that we've received, is they're really paying attention to that neighborhood, understanding what that neighborhood is looking for, and we've got some information on some suite finishes, which
the information that we have received is not too much, unfortunately. We're expecting to get some more finer details very soon. But what we do know is that standard ceiling heights will be 9 and 10 feet. You will have a 13-foot kitchen run as opposed to your standard 7-8 foot kitchen run. So it is an oversized kitchen as well as an oversized kitchen island, which I think is really, really good. It sets the tone very nicely. The suites are also going to have gas inside and out as well.
That's an awesome. That's one of those features. It's easy to skim past.
No, I know it's a big deal.
But people are asking for them all the time.
It's a big
not
deal.
something you see that often. So
yeah. Especially on the outside, having it on barbecue on the balcony.
Standard as well.
Standard
finishes. The other details they've given is European inspired spa like en-suites, completion 2021. Beyond that, we don't know. But you know what? Seeing the renderings, the interior renderings, the lobby finishes, you are getting that very high end Chaplin Estate-esque. Building for sure. They're designed inside and out because I'm a big fan of the design as well. Outside the renderings, you'll see, of course, in the notes. But the design is fantastic.
Yeah, just touching on the exterior design, it's got this really kind of cool tiered element. And what the tiered element does is that it creates these amazing terraces, like these large terraces on a couple of floors. I know the penthouses for sure will have large terraces, but coming down a few floors, because of this tiered design, it opens up these very, very large outdoor spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. The next point that we're really excited about, and again, I'm going to shoot this back to Amit because I know this is an important one for you, and this neighborhood is really known for its schools.
Yes.
So, and the reason I'm bringing you into this is because I know you moved into this neighborhood. You've got a 9-year-old son.
Yep.
And the reason that you decided to move into this neighborhood as opposed to any other neighborhood within Toronto is because of the schools.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were a number of reasons. School being perhaps the most important reason, obviously. This area is not... So you're in Midtown. This is Midtown. So it's got a more suburban feel to it.
Residential feel.
Residential. There's a lot more low-rise houses. There's comparatively speaking, there's less traffic. The schools are outstanding here. You're talking... this specific area, I believe, is Oriole Park, which is top 5% in all of Ontario.
So so the school. So you mentioned the school. Oriole Park is the name of the school.
Yes,
and it's ranked
public school.
Yeah,
it's in the top 5%. Even the secondary school is also top 5% in all of Ontario. North Toronto. So it's interesting. Way back when. We sort of did an analysis as to why certain neighborhoods appreciate faster or the neighborhoods that a lot more people tend to gravitate towards too. And we noticed that one of the big reasons was schools.
Yeah.
So if there's an exceptional school, which this neighborhood has, you are going to get a lot more people wanting to move here, and I can see the type of people, the type of crowd that are going to gravitate to a building like this as well. It will be the families as well. I can see a lot of families from the neighborhood coming, wanting to move here as well. The schools are fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and just speaking anecdotally, we've had a number of clients who have looked in this area and they're looking for that 15, 16, 1700, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom suite.
And they've asked for the schools too.
Specifically because of the schools, right? They've got kids, they may be growing up, but they're looking for that kind of product, and it's very limited in this area in the condominium space. So again, this is understanding what this area is looking for and building towards that. So again, the schools are really two of the top, in the top 5% of all Ontario. So we're talking top schools.
No, they're very, very good schools,
Number 5, the next point that we want to talk about is the developer.
Okay.
The Share Group. They've been very active in the last few years, picking up some of the best sites.
They're a very interesting organization, I have to say. So the best way to explain it is they operate in I guess the 2 sister companies. And before I speak about the Share Group, I want to talk about Share Corporation rather. I want to talk about the Walsh Group, which I don't think many people are aware of. The Walsh Group is basically the same company. But they're basically like a consultancy company. So they operate... they go in...
firm, essentially.
Yeah, they're a marketing firm, but they do some very interesting things. So they do things like develop the marketing material all the way to helping design and decide on suite mixes. Even design floor plans. So they've done a number of. So there's a lot of developments that they have a hand in. Just to name a few, actually, River City, all three phases, the Nest, IT Lofts, One Rainsford, Hartwood, Beacon. So specifically, this is an interesting one with the Nest. So they worked alongside Raw Design to not
One of
only
our favorite architects.
yeah, they're amazing, and they have a very unique design. You know, it's a Raw Design when you see a Raw Design. This is why this is such a cool company. They actually came up with a new material for the Nest called Fiber C cladding.
Interesting.
Which is fun. Like you read about these guys and you think, wow, like they don't have one area where they excel in. They seem to excel in all areas. At the same time, they also won a Build Award for the design of their penthouses at the Nest. So they have a lot of expertise and experience. Some of the companies that they work for as well, the developers that they worked alongside, Rockport, Urban Capital, I mentioned River City, Sorbara, North Drive, Lamb, Streetcar, Worsley, Freed. So they've got
the best of the best.
They've worked. So the other side is the Share Corporation, which is, I'd say, more of the development arm. An example is the King East, where they developed with Hyde Park Homes and Lamb. So that was a couple of years ago, the King East. And then the other one was Ivy, which I believe you mentioned a few weeks ago with Dream. Now, Dream, in case anybody
One of the biggest companies
who don't know about Dream, if Dream are picking a company like Share to work with, it says a lot about Share. Because Dream, they hold roughly $14 billion worth of under management assets.
So the big news that Dream were involved in the last year or so, they purchased Scotia Plaza, the big red building on Bay Street. They purchased the entire building for over $1 billion recently. So that's the kind of partner that.
And they're like I said, they're a very unique company, and they don't have experience or expertise in one single area. They're pretty much covered across the board. The other cool thing is about them is they also help, for other developers, they also help bring in experience and expertise wherever they need it. So if there's a specific architect or landscape or anything like that, they sort of bring in these people as well. So they operate in a very multifaceted way.
Interesting. And just while we're on the Share Group, but we also want to mention that they've got another site downtown.
Yeah.
So they're involved all over right now. The Garden District condos right in downtown core. So again, we're dealing with a very, very good developer here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're recording this right now. We're at the end of March. Sorry. Yeah. Timelines are always very important in new condo launches, especially in something like this with 67 units. Timelines. What do we know about timelines right now?
We haven't been given specific dates, but we have been told that this is expected to launch in April. So it's not too far away. We urge people to get in touch with us. Let us know if those that have yet to know about this development and have only gotten to know the development now. Register, let us know, get on that priority access list.
Yeah, so between now and the launch timeframe, this is the perfect time to get to know and understand what's happening in this building.
The area.
Yeah, so once it does launch, you're able to move quick.
Mm-hmm.
Great, so we're really excited to work on Uovo Condominiums. If you have any questions between now and the launch, please feel free to reach out to us and email us at info@talkcondo.com.